Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this edition of Money Matters regarding executor and trustee selection. I'm going to give everyone a moment just to review this disclosure regarding this presentation today. Okay, well, let's get started. So my name is Carrie Garrity, and I have the privilege of managing our Trust Special Services Division here at First Citizens Bank. I've been with First Citizens for over 19 years now and spent a lot of time in our Estate Settlement Services divisions. I'm very excited to talk with you more today about the executor and trustee selection process. So in this presentation today, we are going to cover the differences between the roles of an executor and trustee because they're not exactly the same thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to discuss the responsibilities of an executor and trustee and why a corporate fiduciary like First Citizens Bank might be the right fit for you. And finally, we're going to cover some of the common pitfalls or mistakes that we see happen when choosing your executor and trustee. So let's start by talking about the legal definition of a fiduciary, because when we're talking about an executor and a trustee, we're talking about those who have a fiduciary responsibility. So as you can see here on the screen, your executor or trustee has a legal obligation to act on your behalf. This is someone that you have the utmost trust and confidence in to manage your final affairs. So selecting your executor and or trustee are not decisions that should be entered into lightly. So I often hear people refer to an executor and trustee as if they're interchangeable terms, but they're not exactly the same thing. In fact, it may be that your executor is not even the same person or entity as your trustee. In addition, an attorney-in-fact named in a power of attorney document is also a completely different role. So an executor, as you can see here, that is the person, it's also referred to as a personal representative in some states, but it is an individual or entity that's named in your last will and testament to carry out the duties of your estate. An executor can only act on behalf of the estate once you have passed away, and once he or she has qualified in that capacity in court. A trustee, in comparison, is an individual or entity named in a trust agreement or last will and testament, but most often we see this in a separate trust agreement. That person manages the assets of the trust as well as oversees distributions to the beneficiaries of that trust. A trustee may serve in this capacity for many, many years because most trusts benefit the beneficiaries for their lifetime. Further, a trustee can serve in this capacity whenever the grantor allows. Since assets held in trust are not part of the probate process, many individuals prefer to place their assets in trust prior to their death to allow for a more seamless process once they've passed away. As a reminder, an executor and trustee may be different people or entities, but it's usually a best practice to name the same person or entity in both roles. So let's take a deeper look at what the executor actually does. What are the responsibilities of an executor? So in many cases, being an executor can feel like a full-time job because after following the initial responsibilities of getting qualified as the executor in the probate court, a lot of work needs to go into safeguarding the assets of the estate. That can look like changing the locks on the house, removing tags from any vehicles owned by the decedent so that no one is driving the car, to ensuring that those who had access to certain credit cards or bank accounts no longer are accessing those funds. The duties of an executor include canceling credit cards, memberships and subscriptions, canceling health insurance, negotiating the sale of personal property like vehicles and real estate, valuing any brokerage accounts, paying valid bills of the estate, filing final personal income tax returns as well as fiduciary income tax returns. The list goes on and on. In addition, court accountings are required to show all of the activity, all the deposits, all of the debts and expenses, as well as document any distributions to beneficiaries. Staying in close and frequent contact with the beneficiaries is important throughout the process. In many cases, the duties of a trustee are the same as those I've just mentioned, except that the trustee has responsibility over the assets held in the trust. The responsibility to prudently invest the assets for not only the beneficiaries of the trust as it stands today, as well as the remainder beneficiaries or the future beneficiaries of the trust is critically important. Bottom line, the roles of an executor and a trustee are complex and time-consuming, so choosing the right individual or corporate fiduciary is key. Oftentimes when I talk with people about our Estate Settlement Services division here at First Citizens Bank, I get the question of, why would someone name a bank as their executor? Well, there are so many reasons why a corporate fiduciary may be the best fit for any estate plan. We just covered the level of time commitment it takes to administer an estate, and many people find that their loved ones are simply overwhelmed by their current jobs and families to take on such a big responsibility. In other cases, blended families can oftentimes create an awkward family dynamic by choosing one side of the family over the other to be an executor. Children from a prior marriage may feel that the new surviving spouse is not necessarily looking after their best interests. Sometimes a corporate fiduciary, like First Citizens, can help navigate these conversations in an unbiased manner. Our goal is to simply carry out the wishes of the decedent. In other cases, some of our clients know that their complex estate plans need a professional executor. For example, a business owner may know that their business partners will need to continue managing the business, while the bank handles the work of the estate and how that business ownership impacts the overall estate plan. Our team has expertise in real estate, closely held businesses, and personal property. So we are equipped to navigate the valuation, distribution, and possible sale of those assets. In other cases, our clients have concerns over how their beneficiaries may spend their inheritances and choose to place those funds in trust for the benefit of those beneficiaries instead. For example, a parent may be concerned over the spending habits of their children, or maybe the spouses of their children. The parent may decide to set up a trust with First Citizens Bank as trustee. Once the trust becomes active and benefits the children, the bank would follow the terms of the trust and only make distributions to the children based on those terms. We would work with the beneficiaries on their budgets and assist them on what may be a valid request and how to look at their spending habits. This gives many of our clients peace of mind as they work through their estate plan. Finally, it's important to understand where mistakes often happen during the estate planning process and how that can add stress to your named executor or trustee. If you experience a major life change, such as a marriage or divorce, the birth of children or grandchildren, or sadly the death of any named individual in your estate plan, it's very important to review the entire plan to understand the impact. You may realize that you need to make changes to address how these life changes, as well as changes in your wealth or the current estate laws, have impacted your plan. As you continue to think through who may be the best fit as your executor and trustee, consider factors such as how naming this person will impact their relationship with the other beneficiaries. Ask yourself whether this person has the time and energy to devote to such a time-consuming process. Does this person live nearby so he or she can work through the process of distributing out the personal property and becoming qualified at the probate court? Would it make sense to have a corporate fiduciary like First Citizens in your plan, even as a co-executor or co-trustee with family, to allow us to take on the heavy burden and administrative details? Creating your estate plan and naming the right executor and trustee are critically important. Consult professionals in estate planning to help you create your plan, and work with legal counsel who specializes in estate planning to draft your documents. Whomever you choose as your executor, be sure to discuss your plan with them so they fully understand your intentions. To learn more about how First Citizens Bank can help you with your estate planning process, or even how we may fit into your estate plan as executor or trustee, please reach out to your First Citizens representative. Thank you for listening to this presentation today. I hope that this has been helpful as you think through naming your executor and trustee.